Welcome back to Astrology, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Cailin, and on this channel I do monthly horoscope videos for all 12 zodiac signs, along with tarot predictions for your sign. Today I'm going to be doing your January 2021 horoscope, so be sure to watch for your rising, sun and moon sign. I'm going to leave a timestamp in the comment box and the description of the video, so feel free to skip this intro if you just want to head straight to your horoscope. As for the rest of you, January is absolutely hectic. We have squares from Mars, Uranus, Saturn, and Jupiter going every which way. This is going to heavily activate two of your houses in particular, and of course it will change for each sign. And we also have Mercury going into retrograde at the end of the month. As per usual with Mercury retrogrades, we always have a 2-week pre-shadow period. So for the first couple of weeks in January, you'll have a bit of a breather, you could say, but this is really the calm before the storm, because come 13th of January, everything is going to go haywire, and there's going to be so much change and such a upswing or uptake in energy. And every sign of course is going to feel it differently, but the ones who will be affected the most will be Taurus, Aquarius, Leo, and Scorpio. Without further ado, let's dive straight in. Hi Aries, Sun, Moon and Risings. Welcome to your January 2021 horoscope. Happy New Year, Aries. To begin the month, we have Mars, your ruling planet, finally leaving your sign in Aries and moving into Taurus in your second house. This will occur on the 7th of January, and wherever Mars goes, that's where we put a lot of our energy, attention, and our focus. So in your second house, this pertains to your financial situation and what you value, and also your valuables and possessions. Now, on the 8th of January, Mercury will enter Aquarius, and this will be in your 11th house. So there will be a lot of communication going back and forth between you and your friends. You might be doing a lot of networking at this time, and you could be heavily involved with any group or community or organization that you're a part of. Now, on the 9th of January, Venus will enter Capricorn, and this will be in your 10th house, otherwise known as your career house. Okay, despite whatever your midheaven sign is, this video is based on whole sign transits. So Venus in your career house means that you will appear more charming, more diplomatic, and more attractive, not just in the public eye, but also to your boss or anyone in upper level management. Now, on the 13th of January, we have a new moon in Capricorn. So new moons always herald a new beginning in some way, shape or form. And being in your career house, we can see a new chapter commence or a new beginning in your career. And this is really planting the seeds. So this doesn't have to be some dramatic change happening on the 13th per se. We're really planting the seeds and nurturing those, and that'll be taking place within the first 4 weeks until the next new moon in February. So with the new moon here, you could have aspirations to become your own boss, to receive some kind of promotion in your workplace, or perhaps a new title. And you could actually be coming into the public eye. That's for some of you, within 6 months, I would say. Now, also on the 13th of January, we have Mars in Taurus in your second house, which if you look behind me, this is you, Aries. This is your first house being ascendant house. This is Taurus. So we have Mars in Taurus making a square to Saturn in Aquarius. So your second house rules your finances, it rules your valuables, your possessions, and anything that you value. Whereas the 11th house rules your long-term goals and aspirations, but it's also a money house because it represents your salary and the gains that you earn from your career. Now, with Mars making this 90-degree aspect to Saturn in Aquarius, you might be making some long-term changes which you implement gradually to your financial situation. Now, Mars will be in Taurus for 3 months, And Mars is how we take action, and Taurus is, well, it's the slowest moving zodiac sign. So these actions that you take towards your long-term goals and aspirations will be slow and drawn out. Not to mention Saturn is another planet which likes things to go slowly and in an efficient and productive manner. So with Mars squaring Saturn, we could actually see a lot of Aries cutting ties with friendship circles and any kind of network which no longer serves them. The reason for that is that Mars rules sharp objects and instruments, and the 11th house rules your networks and your community. So another way that this can play out is that if you are involved in a family business, you might experience issues in this business, because the second house is one of the houses which represents family and lineage, and Saturn rules both your 10th house, which is your career house, and your 11th house, and Mars can represent arguments and disagreements of any kind. So, just take a breath, Aries, if you are in one of these situations where you're involved in a family business, or even if you are, having arguments with long-term friends or long-term friendship circles. Just bite your tongue. I know that's not super easy for you guys, but this square can see you cutting ties which you really can't come back from. If you cut a friendship circle loose, this is something which will not be a reversible action. So just be careful with any plans that you make in that regard. And also you'll be wanting to make plans to become financially independent. So you could be implementing some kind of new system with how you handle your finances, or whom actually handles your finances, whether that is someone in your family, whether that is a financial planner, or you're changing banks. We could see you making some long-term shifts with what you're doing with your finances in particular. Now, on the 14th of January, we will see Uranus be direct in Taurus in your second house. And then around the middle of the month, we also have the pre-shadow period for Mercury retrograde. So if you thought that Uranus going direct would mean that, connections and appliances and technology that's playing up would stop going haywire, well, we've got Mercury retrograde to back that up, unfortunately. Now, on the 18th of January, we have Jupiter in your 11th house in Aquarius, which once again is up here, squaring Uranus in your second house. So really the whole theme for this month, actually not just this month, this will be, for the rest of the year really, it's really about your long-term goals and aspirations, your networks, your salary, and what your dreams are and the vision is that you have for your life. So with Jupiter squaring Uranus, we can see a new belief system take hold. And that's because Jupiter represents your beliefs, and Aquarius represents systems, and Uranus is anything that is new. So this could actually be a rather dramatic change in previously long held values that you've had, because the second house rules values and anything that you find valuable, and the second house once again is connected to family and lineage and traditional values. So we can see some radical new beliefs start to take place. Now, on another level, this could manifest as a dramatic or sudden change to your financial situation, and also what you find to be valuable. So if previously you were very attached to your possessions and your valuables, you might suddenly want to part ways with these things that you no longer hold dear to your heart. Now, just generally speaking, your finances, you can see a sudden dramatic change in those. I'm inclined to say that it's for the better, but just be wary of any huge expenses or taking risks when it comes to your financial situation, because taking risks at this time will not go to plan and they could result in a loss. So just be careful with what you invest your money in. Now, on the 20th of January, Aquarius season will commence once the sun enters the sign of Aquarius. So with the sun being in your 11th house, a group or community that you're involved in can receive some kind of recognition or notoriety. You may receive an award or recognition for your efforts in your career. And on a different level, you could just really be shining in your friendship circle at this time, and there can be a lot of activity with your friends and group events. Now, on the 21st of January, Mars will be conjunct Uranus in Taurus, again in your second house. So here we see Uranus being the bearer of sudden change, swift upheaval, and any kind of unpredictable situation or circumstance take place. And Mars, again, is how we take action and where we put our energy. Mars can also represent arguments and disagreements, as I mentioned before. And again, it represents sharp instruments. So if you are planning to have some kind of plastic surgery to your face specifically, because the second house rules the face, I highly recommend that you reschedule your plans, because this is when going under the knife can result in some pretty gnarly mistakes, and I would of course hate to hear of that happening to any of you. So I strongly suggest that you do not go under the knife at this time, and that includes any operations or procedures to the eyes, to the mouth, and to the teeth, if you can avoid it. Now, this can play out in another way, Aries. For some of you, you may have to unexpectedly have an operation to the face, and it could be as simple as, falling over and like cutting your eyelid and needing stitches. This won't play out this way for all of you. I just wanted to make you aware of what can happen when Mars is conjunct Uranus, because it really is something that signifies unpredicted issues and accidents. You could have an accident to the face as well. Put it this way, if you're planning to do any kind of activity which would involve you wearing a helmet for safety reasons, just don't do the activity as it is. Don't go bungee jumping, skydiving, don't get on a motorbike for the first time. Even roller coasters. I'm not trying to scare you guys. It's just, this is something that you want to be really careful with. Now, on a totally different level, you could have an unexpected yet drastic change to your finances. So your financial situation could, change out of nowhere. Once again, you don't want to be taking any big risks with your finances at this time. Don't go and buy a stack of shares, or essentially don't stretch yourself. Of course, this could swing the other way where it could be unexpected gains, but you don't want to tempt fate. So if you're looking at making an expense which would require a large sum of money, borrowing money, or again, stretching yourself thin, just try and avoid that. Now, on a different level, this could result in a sudden recovery of a repressed memory, or you could actually discover something new about your DNA and about your lineage. And the reason for that is that the second house rules history of all kinds and memory of all kinds. And again, Mars is a penetrative force, and Uranus brings swift and sudden results. And with regard to your lineage and your DNA, well, the second house represents that long line of history in your family. Now, if any of you have to give a speech, if you're a public speaker, or you have to go on camera or anything of that nature, or give a speech to your boss at work, or whatever the situation is, don't go off script, because the second house rules the voice. Mars represents anger and aggression, and Uranus is, as I mentioned several times in this video, a very unpredictable planet. So if you go off book, you could say something that you regret, or you could actually come across aggressive or in a brutish manner which you did not intend. So just be careful with that. So on the 23rd of January, Mars in the second house will square Jupiter in the 11th house. So with Mars being square, Mars in the house of finances, squaring your house of networks, your friendship circle, and your long-term goals and aspirations, this is where we can see you starting to make long-term plans for your finances. And for some of you, this could pertain to putting money aside for retirement fund, or making long-term travel plans, because Mars is taking action. Mars in the second house is taking action with regard to your finances. Jupiter is a planet which represents travel and living abroad. So we could really see you make plans to do this, but this is long term, because the 11th house is not something that we're doing tomorrow or even next year. This could be like a plan to retire and live abroad in, however many years from now. On a different level, some of you will cut ties with friends or cut out a certain friendship circle, and this could be due to having very different belief systems. So you could have arguments or disagreements over your values, again represented by the second house, your belief systems represented by Jupiter, and the 11th house and the sign of Aquarius both represent friends as a whole. Now, on a different level, you could be planning some kind of to join some kind of community or organization, or any group or community or organization that you're already a part of. You might be taking action with them, and this will somehow relate to money and gains that you make as a result of this action. Now, on the 29th of January, we will see a full moon in Leo at 8 degrees in your 5th house, okay, which is here, that's Leo, and it will be opposite Saturn and Jupiter in your 11th house. And Saturn will be at 4 degrees and Jupiter will be at 9 degrees. So this is a pretty tight opposition, and the 5th house represents any kind of creative project or endeavor or artistic endeavor that you create yourself. So this can play out as finally having finished one of these creative projects. It could even be a novel, some kind of creative piece of writing that you've done, and now it is ready to be released into the public. And this is a great time to do it, because the full moon, as it's in itself, represents bringing something to fruition, coming full circle and completion. The 5th house is your house of creativity. Leo is already arguably the most creative sign in the zodiac, and the fact that it is opposite Jupiter in the 7th house, having that 7 signs apart opposition, means that the 11th house essentially becomes your descendant from the 5th house of what you create. I know I've lost some of you guys, bear with me. Jupiter represents publishing, and Saturn is anything that we work on for a really long time. So some of you will be publishing a book or a novel and releasing it into the public. Some of you will be releasing a piece of artwork or musical composition, anything that you have created yourself. You could actually be launching a new business, And we can see this take place anytime from the 29th till, let's say, the end of February. So whenever the next full moon is. Now, on a completely different level, for those of you who have children, your firstborn child could be coming to the end of a chapter in their life. They might be finishing school. They could be finishing college or university. On another note, if they've been involved with a court case to get divorced from their spouse, we can see this court case finally coming to a close. And it might be that, this court case has been going on for a really long time, but with Saturn and Jupiter, which are both planets which rule the law, and being in a close opposition from the 5th house, we can see this finally come to a complete end. Now, on a different level, they might be ending a relationship or a close one-on-one friendship or a business partnership. It doesn't have to be any of the aforementioned things. It can simply be the close of any chapter, any given chapter in their life. And lastly, on the 31st of January, we have Mercury going retrograde in Aquarius, as I mentioned. I will discuss how this energy will impact you in my February 2021 horoscope. So Aries, that's all I have for you for the month of January 2021. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you'd like to see more content from me, please subscribe to my K-Astrology channel. I also have my January 2021 tarot predictions for your Zodiac sign out, which you can find in the description box below. Enjoy January, and I will see you next month.